Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drayhon, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Character Concept Optimized, where we take a look at multi-class builds and min-max them to the most optimal way we can min-max them. Today we're looking at the Artificer Rogue, or as I like to call it, the Grease Monkey. Some might call it a Skillmonkey or something of that nature, but in essence, this build scenario is where you take every single skill and make sure you do not fail them. No skill check will fail if you use this build. As far as attacks go, you might be out of luck. However, when it comes to using your tools, your skill checks, ability checks, you are not only proficient, but you have expertise in every single one of your skills and your tools. Except for maybe a few, but that's besides the point. Now, with that being said, why? Well, we just answered why. Artificers can create their own artisan's tools and automatically have expertise with all tools that they are proficient in, thanks to the Artificer's ability tool expertise. Then you have the Rogue's reliable talent, which makes it very difficult to fail any ability check you are proficient in, making 10 or lower, anything lower than a 10 be treated as a 10 on the roll. That way, your proficiency and expertise will make that go up even higher. With a level 20 character, that's a proficiency of 5. Proficiency bonus of 5. So 5 plus your skill plus the expertise is another 5. It's a plus 10 minimum. So at minimum, you're looking at a 20 on every single one of your checks. For your tool checks, if you have proficiency in every single one of them with expertise. Then you have your skills, which that's a different scenario. And it's an ability check, and tools count as the ability check since you are using your ability to use the check. I'll explain it at some point, but I did explain ability scores in another video, so I would recommend checking those out when you can. Now, while it is better, in my opinion, to go with the Bard for the Jack of all trades, we still get a good amount of abilities thanks to our expertise. So let's go ahead and go over our goals. Our goals, of course, as always, are picking the right race, background, and class features in order to get our multi-class build optimized. For the rogue, we need our levels and roguish archetype. If we choose the Arcane Trickster, we'll also need to choose spells, but we're not going to today. For our Artificer, we need our Artificer levels, the Artificer Specialist, item infusions, and of course, spells. We also need to figure out what feats we might need in order to make this build the most optimal. The main goal, of course, is to be proficient in all skills, as well as having expertise in most of them. Having proficiency in languages is going to be very useful, though I know we're not going to be able to get all languages. We could try, but that's going to take the right backgrounds, which we don't really have the ability to do so. And of course, failure is not an option. We need to be able to have a minimum of, well, we just discussed this, the reliable talent plus expertise, making it a 20 minimum. If we don't have expertise, then it's just going to be proficiency, so it'll be the skill of choice along with that proficiency. So if it's a charisma check, you add your charisma to your proficiency bonus. So at minimum, you're looking at somewhere between 15 and 20. Very hard to fail those type of checks. And, well, vehicles are classified as tools, so having some proficiency in vehicles is going to be necessary as well. So let's go ahead and get our list together, because we have 18 skills that we need to collect. We're going to need to keep track, so let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with race. One race that is going to be consistent with these builds is going to be the Vedalken, because of the Vedalken's Dispassion, which gives you advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. But the tireless precision of the Vedalken is also a very good skill, as it gives you a skill in performance and a tool of your choice, but it also adds a D4 to any ability check that you make with performance or tool of choice. You're also partially amphibious, which is pretty good, and you get 3 languages: Common, Vedalken, and 1 other. However, we're not going to be using the Vedalken for this build, as there are much better options. The Kinku is one such option, as it has expert duplication. When you copy or craft work produced by someone else, you have advantage on any ability checks you make to produce an exact duplicate, which is phenomenal. You also have Kinku Recall, which gives you 2 skill proficiencies: Perception and Investigation. You also have the ability to give yourself advantage on any ability check using a skill in which you are proficient in before rolling the d20. You can give this advantage a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You also have that mimicry, which is kind of good. Now, as far as your size goes, this is going to be important. You can choose small or medium-sized Kinku. However, I would recommend choosing a small-size Kinku, and we will get into why when we go over the feats. Moving on to background. We actually have the soldier background for this one, and thanks to the Dragonlance series, we are able to pick a free feat at first level, which means we get the skilled feat. We get athletics and intimidation just for being a soldier, but we're also going to get arcana, medicine, and history from the skilled feat. Alternatively, you can get medicine, history, and sea vehicles. Soldiers get access to different types of tools, a gaming set of your choice, and land vehicles. If you went the alternative route for your skilled feat, you will have both land and sea vehicles as proficiencies. And thanks to the Artificer's tool expertise, you will be experts in both of these vehicles. Moving on to our rogue. We actually need to start out as a rogue, as we get 4 skills. Insight, performance, sleight of hand, and stealth are going to be our options. You also get expertise in 4 of your proficient skills. I would make sure you have your athletics and your acrobatics together as part of your proficient skills. Sleight of hand and stealth are also going to be pretty prominent as part of this build, as you are trying to do a lot of different checks that require these types of skills. Jumping roofs, picking locks, grabbing making sure you grab certain items from other people's pockets, and so on and so forth. Next, you need your roguish archetype. I would recommend the Scout, as you get the Survivalist feature, which gives you 2 more skills, Nature and Survival, and they are automatically doubling the proficiency bonus on those 2 skills. You also get Superior Mobility, which gives you an extra 10 feet of movement speed, which is pretty good. You also get Skirmisher, which is another good-ish feature. Moving on to the Artificer. Thanks to your 12 levels of Rogue, you only get 8 levels of Artificer, which is fine, as we are getting our Tool Expertise and our Flash of Genius features. But we also have the item infusions. You are able to have 3 item infusions active at a time, though you can know up to 6 infusions. The ones that you will have active at all time are your Gloves of Thievery, Bag of Holding, and Goggles of Night. For your Artificer Specialist, I did not see anything better than the Armorer, as you get your tools of the trade being Heavy Armor of Smith's tools, which doesn't really matter because of your right tool for the job, and Tool Expertise, giving you expertise in all tools that you could make or even have. You get the Armorer spells of Magic Missile, Thunder Wave, Mirror Image, and Shatter. You also get Arcane Armor. We're going to get the Armor model of Infiltrator. This gives us Lightning Launcher, which is a simple ranged weapon of minimum at 90 feet and maximum of 300 feet, and it deals 1d6 lightning damage, and once per turn you can change that to a 2d6 lightning damage. And this is a ranged weapon, so your rogue's sneak attack feature can apply to the lightning launcher, which is pretty neat. You also get Powered Steps, which gives you a +5 movement speed, and you also get Dampening Shield, which gives you advantage on your dexterity stealth checks. So, that's kind of cool. Not necessary since we're already getting advantage from the Kinku, but if we run out of the Kinku's advantage, we still have the advantage now. And since we are an Armorer, we get extra attack at 5th level. Now, I've noticed a little bit of a pattern from this build, and that is we are increasing our movement speed, and that is going to continue, though it was unintentional. Because our feats, one of them is Squat Nimbleness, and this has a prerequisite of either being a dwarf or a small race. See, I told you that small Kinku is going to come in handy. Squat Nimbleness gives us a +5 movement speed and proficiency in acrobatics. We also get advantage on strength, athletics, and dexterity acrobatics checks to escape from being grappled. We are also going to get Eldritch Adept and grab the Eldritch Invocation Beguiling Influence. This gives us proficiency in Deception and Persuasion. For skill experts, we'll get the skill proficiency in animal handling and expertise in any one proficient skill that we have. We also get Linguist, which will give us 3 languages of our choice. So we have a wide range of languages that we can know, even more so since we are a Kinku. You also can ably create written ciphers, which has a DC of your intelligence score plus your proficiency bonus in order to decipher it. You also have the Keen Mind and Observant feats, which are half feats that give you an increase in your ability score by 1 point. But it also gives you some great features. With Keen Mind, you can accurately recall something that you had learned recently. And with Observant, you have the ability to read lips, as well as a +5 to your passive perception and passive investigation checks. So those are pretty good in my opinion. Now, unfortunately, I've noticed a very big problem. One that has given me a bit of a headache. We have only 17 skills out of the 18. We are missing religion, which is where our alternative skill feat lineup comes in, because there is actually something we can do about it, though it is at your DM's discretion, and you also need their permission. And honestly, I think this could actually add some flavor to your Grace Monkey / Skillmonkey, and that is the Dark Gift Echoing Soul. This will give you channeled prowess. You get 2 skill proficiencies. Since we are dropping Arcana from the skilled feat at the beginning of this video, we can add it now, giving us Arcana and Religion. We also get Inherit Tongue, which gives us 1 more language of choice, but we have Intrusive Echoes, which does play a bit of a downside, but that is fine, as it makes us a little bit more of an interesting character, in my opinion. I would say a character with some, I don't know, schizophrenia? Is that the right terminology? But yeah, something like that for your character would make sense. It's just a little bit of flavor. We probably would have had all of the skills, if not for the fact that Artificers don't gain a skill when multi-classed into. So yeah, that's a little bit of a downside, but having this Dark Gift, Echoing Soul, which can be found in Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, could add some flavor to this build if you're able to convince your DM to get this Dark Gift somehow. Anyway, that is all for the build, but not for this video, as I have spells for you. Not that many, since we are going 8 levels into Artificer. We only get 2 cantrips and 9 spells. For our cantrips, we have Guidance and Mage Hand. Your first level spells are Alarm, Detect Magic, Featherfall, Identify, and Purify Food and Drink. For your second level spells, we have Aid, Arcane Lock, Enhance Ability, and Rope Trick. Not really any combatant moves, but they are still very helpful. While you are trying to do some skill checks, your allies are getting a boost from you. And you can also boost yourself using Guidance, or you can use Identify and Detect Magic to try to skip over trying to figure out what items are magical. But you still need to be able to know what they do. So that's going to require different types of skill checks. Then you have Purify Food and Drink, so you can ignore any poison that someone is trying to give you, which is good. Aid will give off some temporary hit points, as will Enhance Ability, but it will also give off some bonuses to different skill checks. So you could have a helper help you out while you are searching or doing something with your skill checks. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of this build in the comment section below. And join the community page if you want to see more insider information on some of these builds. As I did a poll for this very build, and I forgot to mention, one of the races that kind of made sense for the build was the Herringon, the rabbit folk, and it actually got the most votes for what race you would pick for the Grease Monkey, even though I forgot to input it into this video. Anyway, with that being said, this has been Drayhan, and I am offline.